All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 462 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to talk about a special player for Georgia Southern, a guy who did a lot of things for Georgia Southern in the 1 year that he was here. Well, 1.5 years. He's done a very good job playing various positions for Georgia Southern and was a really special player. And one that, for some reason, not a lot of us, not just me, a lot of us didn't talk about him enough as far as how well he could play various positions. We're going to give him, some shine today and let him know that we did appreciate him at Georgia Southern. And I'm going to talk about his play and how well that he did for us, and just give him some appreciation because we didn't think to talk about him enough while he was on the field. There were times that we did, but he done a lot more than we thought that we really talked about. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And you can find me on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Also on YouTube and Rumble if you want to watch the visual side of the show. Thank you guys for the support, all the people who have been watching and definitely listening on the podcast side. Seems like for the most part that is the choice for most of the people who consume the show. I really appreciate it. Let's get into this. Amare Jones came to Georgia Southern after being at Tulane for, I think he was there for 3-4 years. And he decided to come to Georgia Southern, which was kind of interesting because, Georgia Southern, at the time when he came to Georgia Southern, it was interesting because a guy from Texas coming all the way to Statesboro was, I ain't gonna say it wasn't nothing that was not thought about or you don't talk about as much, but for him to come here and his skill set worked so well, come from Tulane, which, Coach Fritz was over there, with former Georgia Southern coach, kind of have a little bit of ties there. But his skill set fit so well what Georgia Southern was doing at the time. And we all thought it was going to work out pretty well. I was kind of actually excited for him to come here and do some things because the way that when he came here, I thought he was just going to be a running back, somebody who was going to pick up from where the Wesley Fields or the Wesley Kennedys or even where Logan Wright was, J.D. King, he's just going to be another guy another weapon for us to run the ball because that was our bread and butter. So that was going to be a good thing. But when I started to look at some of his stats, like he could do a little bit of everything. This was a really good look for Georgia Southern because we got a guy who not just to run the ball. He can catch out the backfield. He could play wide receiver. He actually played a little bit quarterback. So this was like a really interesting look for what Georgia Southern could, bring to the table. We're going to get into what he's done at Georgia Southern, but first I want to give you some background on what he's done. In 2018, 2019, this is all on gseagles.com. You can check this out. I might put the link down in the description of the YouTube and Rumble if you want to check this out. In 2018, 2019, he appeared in every game for Tulane, had 939 all-purpose yards, led the team in kickoff returns and punt return yards. He ran for 216 and had 4 touchdowns. He had a total season-high kickoff return yards at Cincinnati, and he caught season-high 3 passes for 29 against SMU. Rushed for a season-high 42 yards and 8 carries at Tulsa. Had 3 carries for 26 for a touchdown at Houston. Finished the year on a high note. He totaled 42 all-purpose yards against Louisiana in an All-Nation Cure Bowl. So even out the gate, he was just versatile to do so many things. The kickoff return, special teams, running the ball, catching the ball a little bit. This is the skill set that was like really unique for Amare Jones. 2019, 2020, played 13 games, made 6 starts. And he finished the year with 1,611 all-purpose yards, ranks 7th in program history at Tulane. I can go down the whole, spill of what he did that year, but just that alone could stand on itself. It just goes to show you based on what he did in 2019 to 2020, 2018 to 2019 to 2020, he just continued to get better at what he did. 2020, 21, he played 10 games. That was the year that was, I think that was like the COVID year. He started 2 games for the Green Wave. He had 67 carries for 389 and 2 touchdowns. He also caught 14 passes for 101. And he went to the transfer portal in December, and he came to Georgia Southern in January. Now, in 2021, 2022, this is where we come in as Georgia Southern fans. We get to see what this kid can do. Now, coming in, he, I think, the first game, I want to say it was the first game when we played against Gardner-Webb. He started at running back. I think we had, Justin Tomlin. He wasn't ready, or I think he wasn't ready. Then we had Cam Ransom as well. I don't think he was ready as well. But even though he started that game, he was 4 of 7 for 45 yards, ran 19 times for 98 yards. We end up winning that game. The Florida Atlantic game, I really will say that this was the game that everything started to go downhill in the 2021 season. That was the 3-9 season. Really don't want to get into too much of that. But overall, he played in 10 games. He started 6. He played 380 total snaps, 370 on offense, 10 on special teams. He played at running back, quarterback, and receiver. He caught 25 catches for 351, ran for 196 on 41 carries, and he threw for 45 yards. He was third on the team with all 547 all-purpose yards. So just like I said, he was one of those guys that could do a little bit of everything. And it helped in a lot of ways, because I don't think we probably wouldn't have won that game against Gardner-Webb if it wasn't for that and for him playing. And he had a couple of pretty good plays throughout the season that year as well. But 2022 was the season where he blew up. He strictly went to wide receiver, and this is where you started to see how well he could play. We saw some amazing catches that he made. You saw him, doing some things on special teams. He was really contributing in a high way. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't have the stats in front of me. I want to say he was number 1 in receiving yards or number 2. Well, anyway, he had 35 receptions for 483 yards and 6 touchdowns. And in the Old Dominion game, he played very well. And with him catching one of the greatest touchdowns that I've seen. And to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of football, but for you to catch a diving touchdown like that with a receiver right on you, between him and Derwin Burgess, those guys are the ones that have been catching like amazing catches. And if you're looking at this on YouTube or Rumble, that catch they had for a touchdown against Georgia State, just acrobatic, spectacular catches these guys can make. And it's unfortunate that there were some plays that happened in the Old Dominion game that end up, ending his season. Apparently he put it out on IG, on Instagram, that he was not going to be on, that his season was over, and kind of find out based on news reports that he sustained an internal injury and he needed surgery the next day. So this had to be something really serious. And it's really unfortunate because he was on his way to do so many good things. Not only that, he could play receiver. He did pretty good in the special teams with the kick returns, punt returns. If you needed him to, he could play running back. And he's done so much, and he helped the team in so many ways. It sucks to have a kid like this to go down like this and not able to finish the season, especially when we're just now getting to the point where we're on a high note and we're starting to roll a little bit, where we can get, some really good record, but really good bit of wins going down the stretch. So I want to say this. I want to thank Amare Jones. I want to thank you. I don't know if you watch the show. I don't know if you listen. If anybody do, can reach out to him and listen. That listen to the show, reach out to him. Let him know that at least here at First and Frame Race, we appreciate him. We appreciate him a lot, and for not just his career at Tulane, but just with Georgia Southern as well. He had a fairly good college career as a football player. Now I don't know what goes on with the rest of his career. I don't know if he has any more eligibility. I don't know if this injury does anything. I don't know how far this injury is going to, how much of a toll it's going to take on his health, as far as, will he play again? Is he going to declare for the draft? Because I think he has somebody on the NFL team could use this kid. At 5'11", 195, he could do a little bit of everything, as far as, play a little bit of receiver, play a little bit of running back. do a little bit, play some special teams. I think he can be on an NFL spot if if it's available for him, or if he's going to be able to pursue that. But we really appreciate him. I mean, not only that, it surprised us when you had to, play quarterback for us last year at times, and the times where, you had to do so many things on the field because of what was going on in the 3-9 season. And even this year where the total offensive change, and it could have been a situation where he didn't have to come back and play. I mean, I remember us on social media was asking him, was he going to come back? And he asked us, do we want to see him back? And then, absolutely. We want to see Amare Jones play because he, did so many good things the year prior. And just to have that extra person on the field who can, stretch the field, know how to, play different positions, have high IQ, the high IQ that he has on the field is a really good, weapon to have against any team. And he showed how well he contributed. He was on his way to possibly 1,000 yards this year. With 4 more games in, he could the way things were going with this team and the way we're moving the ball, he could have been very close to 1,000 yards receiving. He was almost already at 500 at 483. Got 4 games, 4 games, 5 games left. They got 4 games left. Anything was possible. But unfortunately, that's not the case, and we won't be able to, to see it. And it kind of sucks because injuries are a part of the game, and that's one thing that we always look at, but we look at it once it happens, because we're always in a situation where we look at these guys like, straight gladiators. These guys are really real true athletes, and they do so much on the field, and the way they have to do to take care of their bodies and keep things uptight so they can continue to play at a high level. When we look at these injuries, we just look at it like, oh, they're going to brush it off. Hopefully they'll be able to come back. And in some cases, they're not able to. I mean, we lost a handful of people so far, within the last few years from injuries. I mean, the J.D. King injury, he never really recovered from. We lost Sam Kinison earlier this year in the Nebraska game with a torn ACL. Hopefully he'll be back next year and to be ready to go again, because that's another kid. That's another kid, just like Amare Jones, is just incredibly talented. Sam Kinison was a quarterback in high school. He started to play a little bit of quarterback for us, moved over to wide receiver, and I think he did one of the best transitions to wide receiver, that I've seen ever, from quarterback to wide receiver. He was on his way to do great things as well. So, and now we have Amare Jones that's going to be out for the season. It like I said, it really sucks, because with him coming back as a 5th-year senior and wanted to, contribute and be the best he can be on the field, it seemed like he'd done that and he was able to, contribute and do it at a high level. Unfortunately, he was injured, and he's going to be out for the season. Hopefully he gets well. The prayers up for him, definitely. I'm going to be rooting for your recovery. And I once again, I want to say thank you. We really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much for your contributions to Georgia Southern football. And you contributed to a few wins this year. And hopefully you will continue to contribute with your presence and continued support with your teammates. We really appreciate it. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What do you guys think about Amare Jones? I think he had a pretty good college career from Tulane to Georgia Southern. I think he's done a pretty good job of representing both programs at a high level. Don't know what the future holds. Hopefully everything will continue to be on the up and up. And let me know what you guys think. I mean, this was a pretty special player that came to Georgia Southern, and it showed. It showed in various ways. And we would love to see more guys come through just like him, and hopefully his play would attract more players like him to come to Georgia Southern and continue to have those Swiss Army knife type players that could do it all and contribute, not only on the field but off the field as well. So I'm going to get up out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'm going to get up out of here. Enjoy the bye week, guys. This is Georgia Southern bye week, so these guys are going to be taking a rest for a little bit, and then we're going to be back at it next week. I'll see you guys with more content, And you guys take it easy, and you guys be blessed. Peace.